1999, Morpheus offered Neo a choice between a red pill and a blue pill. In 2018, this country fractured between red and blue. In 2022, I'm here to tell you that if you really want the truth, more voters are neither red or blue. Yet, they have no representation, no choice, and no options. They have to choose between candidates chosen by the red people or the blue people. I'm David Esrati, and I'm running for Congress as an American, as in red, white, and blue. I'm a veteran, an activist, and a small businessman. I'm asking you to join me in reminding the professional politicians in Congress who their bosses are. I support ranked choice voting, campaign finance reform, and a verified voter information system, all so we can stop having the best politicians money can buy. It's time to elect a veteran who will work for you, no matter what color they want to label you. Please go to electesrati.com and learn more. I'm David Esrati, and I approve this message. Jurassic Park, you thought those little baby dinosaurs were cute until they turned into out-of-control carnivores. That's sort of what happens to government when we elect people based on very expensive advertising campaigns and propaganda. I'm David Esrati. I'm a veteran and a small businessman running for Congress. You don't want professional ad people and pollsters to sway your vote. All those hot-button issues like gun control, abortion, borders are all politicized to stop you from voting rationally. And thinking rationally seems to be in short supply these days. Most Americans have been voting against their own best self-interest for a long time because we've allowed money to buy our leaders. 1 million Americans died in the last 2 years because our leaders couldn't lead. It wasn't that hard. Mask, distance, test, and then vaccinate. In an instant, we had billions to spend on healthcare for COVID, when for years we've been told we can't provide healthcare for everyone equally in this country. That's an unintended consequence of the pandemic. If you think about it, our government can pretty much do whatever it wants, or what the people who buy our politicians tell our leaders to do. We also had a ton of money to prop up businesses. The next thing you know, it turns out that a living wage was not only possible, but necessary. As a small businessman who won't sell you out to corporate interests and lobbyists, I can tell you that it's time to fully understand the consequences of companies like Amazon, Facebook, and Google and their effect on small business, and to remind you that small business is the #1 creator of jobs in this country. So this next election, don't trust this ad or any other political ad. Do your homework and think before you vote. It's time to put this ad man in Congress because I know that the best advertising is based on the truth, not the size of the budget or payola. Or you can just vote based on who has the money to buy their way into Congress and live with the consequences. I'm David Esrati, and I approve this message. Sure. I'm David Esrati. I'm running for Congress. And this Saturday, from 9:30 a.m. till 1:30 p.m. at my house, 113 Bonner Street, Dayton, Ohio, you can come and have the best buttermilk pancakes you've ever had. Now, I'll have fresh, pure Ohio maple syrup. I have unsalted sweet cream butter. I will have the fluffiest pancakes. I will have orange juice. I will have coffee, but don't expect any pork. That's what you get from Mike Turner. Anyway, that's first up. Second up, I will be on WDTN, that's Channel 2 News at about 5:20 or somewhere in there today, live for approximately 3 minutes. They invited Mike Turner yesterday, and he canceled at the last minute because I tweeted and said, my God, he might actually have to answer questions of the public. I can't do that. he said, so he didn't. So you can come watch me on channel 2. And we will be premiering a new commercial to everyone else in the world at 4:30. But because you're here right now watching this live, you get to see it first. And we're going to run it right now, and I'd like to know what you think. Monopoly was designed as a teaching tool in 1903. Did you think it was just a game? It was a way to model how economies fail when a few folks own everything. What if I told you the game ended decades ago in America when we stopped enforcing antitrust laws, allowed banks to get too big to fail, and let the rich buy our politicians? There's only one peaceful solution left. Vote straight D this November 8th and stop the billionaires from owning what's left. Well, any feedback? Any comments? Do you like it? Love to see in comments. That's the beauty of this. This is interactive. You can ask questions. You can tell me things. And this is what I plan to do once I'm elected in Congress. At the end of every day, come online, tell you what happened in Congress, what I did, why I did it, ask for input, tell you what's coming up the next day, what we're going to do, get your input and see what happens. And I don't see any comments. So today's hot topic, which was suggested by Bill Mavar, otherwise known as Bill Kirby. He used to be the traffic reporter for Channel 7 because not only can he ride a motorcycle, he can fly a plane, and he used to do the traffic reports. He also was MC for the Dayton Bombers, which I worked with for several seasons, and we got to be good friends. And little known fact, for some of those games, I was Bucky the Flying Squirrel. Now you might say, why would an advertising guy want to ever be Bucky the Flying Squirrel? One, because it was hard to find people that could actually skate in a big flying squirrel costume and do things like the YMCA without looking like an idiot. And two, because you could do amazing marketing research walking around in a giant flying squirrel costume, because people will say things in front of that squirrel with no clue of who is in there or anything. And you can learn all kinds of things about your audience that you wouldn't normally hear if you were the owner or the marketing guy, etc. Anyways, Bill says that spot was damn good. Well, thank you, Bill. Now, how many of you knew that Monopoly was originally designed as a teaching tool? How many of you knew that? I sure didn't. And it all makes sense now. So today, the subject, again, by Bill, and I can't see all of the comments. So I can't read. Can you fix that for me, please? Sorry. I've got one window overlapping the other limit. There we go. Now I can see. So I see Mike Box says, I'm thinking you might add the information on your other video comparing the amount of money raised by Democratic candidates compared to Republican candidates. Well, you can find that at our website, Elections Not Auctions, which covers that of me and 4 other candidates who are running in the State House. And you can see the disparity between the rich Republicans and the rest of us. But for today, and welcome, Mike. Nice to have you on. There is a handy-dandy PDF file, and I put a link in the description to the Secretary of State's office, which gives you about a, 6-8 page description of the constitutional amendments for this ballot. And, it's funny because I get to go candidate night to candidate night to candidate night, and I've heard people argue for both sides of this over and over and over, including from the Supreme Court justice candidates who really can't argue anything but can make a good description. So I felt pretty qualified at explaining everything, but sometimes older, wiser people say, Constitutional amendments are very dangerous things. For instance, do you remember when Ohioans said, we want casinos? And they made it a constitutional amendment, and I voted against it. Because in that constitutional amendment, I don't have a problem with the casinos. They are a tax on stupid people, but the problem was they actually specified in the constitutional amendment where the casinos would be located, on whose property. So it was like saying, I like my friend Mike. He owns a giant farm. I am going to make a constitutional amendment guaranteeing that the casino goes on Mike's farm and Mike makes a lot of money. Where the hell do these Republicans come up with this shit? But that's what we've had in the last 20 plus years in Ohio politics, is a bunch of Republicans who are owned, bought, and paid for by the Koch brothers and other rich folks who've been financing their ownership of Ohio. So, what happened? One of the spots, the one in Columbus, turns out couldn't be the casino. So they had to go in and do another constitutional amendment to change the location. Now, a constitutional amendment guaranteeing the right to have an abortion, yeah, I'll vote for that. But these ones, issue 1 and issue 2, they sound all nice and, happy, and that they're good things, to require courts to consider factors like public safety when setting the amount of bail. People, bail has nothing to do with justice. Okay? And this is something you want a judge to do on a case-by-case basis. You do not want it set by the legislators who only work about half the year, can't make exceptions, come up with draconian ideas, and do stupid shit that ends up getting people in front of courts, like saying anybody can carry a concealed weapon at any time without any kind of training or licensing or even background checks. Come on, folks, you're smarter than that. But this bail thing, this is basically saying we don't want home rule. We want the state to make up the decisions for each community on who should be allowed in and out of jail and how much bail is set and everything else. Wrong, bad. Let me tell you something. What bail does is bail keeps, for the most part, not the dangerous criminals in prison. It keeps the poor people in prison. Excuse me, I should say in jail. There's a difference between jail and prison, and I should know the difference because, for one, I live with a twice convicted felon. I am POA for 2 people who are both spending time in jail. One is in jail right now. So I should know the difference between jail. Jail is temporary. It's for short term, up to 6 months. It's locally run usually. It's not sending you away. Prison is once you've been convicted, and a lot of times it's where you're held until your trial is over. So you could be in jail and still be innocent because you are innocent until proven guilty. Then we've got prison. That's where they send you to make you pay for your crimes. And supposedly, they're supposed to help reclaim your life and retrain you and all these other things that are, great ideas but don't really happen. So, for instance, what happens when you get put in jail and you're mentally ill already? Now, I'm going to use a true case. I'm going to use one of my POA people. He was arrested in December. He has charges in 3 counties. He stole a bunch of cars while he was manic. Mentally ill, not sane when he was doing this. And in fact, one county said, we're giving him ILC. That's in lieu of conviction. But they kept him in jail for about 5 months. Well, what happens in 5 months when you're not there to pay your car payment, your house payment, your utility bills? You better have somebody to do it, and they better have some money to do it, or guess what happens? You start to go into bankruptcy. So while or your house gets foreclosed on, which is what happened. And because he was mentally ill, he wouldn't sign POA over to anybody. And when he finally did, it was about a week after his house had been foreclosed on. So I became his POA. I had to struggle to find resources to buy the house out of the from the bank first, which meant I had to raid his IRA and get money out of that, which isn't easy. That took 30 days. Make an agreement with the bank that we would pay 6 months worth of rent, of payments, plus the back pay, what was already owed, and give that to them and promise to pay them within 3 months. Then the clock started ticking. I had to clean the house out. I had to repaint. I had to recarpet. I had to repair things. I had to rekey the locks. Put things in storage. Get the landscaping taken care of. Put it on the market and sell it. And then deal with all the things that he also hadn't paid. Again, he hasn't been convicted of a crime yet, but all these things had happened to him. He was losing everything he had I not gone in to do that. Now, not everybody has someone that can do that, nor do they have an IRA that you might be able to raid, or anything else. Bail is not the solution. Once someone's in jail, the solution is speedy trial and making sure that they're safe in the community. Obviously, he's not safe. He's still waiting for a bed at Twin Valley for getting him straightened out because he's been deemed basically incompetent. So, this is a really bad idea, letting the State House make these decisions and not leaving it up to the judges that are intimately understanding of the case. The big problem is if we have judges that make a bunch of mistakes in Montgomery County by letting, a rapist out without bail, which they wouldn't do, and he rapes again, or a killer, we don't have any way of removing that judge, since judges are never challenged in this county because of a secret deal between the Democrats and the Republicans. But that's a whole other story. So that's issue one. They want you to vote yes. You should vote no. Clean, simple, no. Issue two. Now this one is a screw the liberals thing, okay? Because this only really applied originally to one community, Yellow Springs, Ohio. Yellow Springs decided that, and I think Cleveland Heights, my hometown, might have done this as well. But anyways, Yellow Springs did it, and it got their attention, and they got pissed off. Because Dave Chappelle also talks shit out in a cornfield, and they don't like that either. But issue two was to stop local governments from allowing people who are not citizens from voting in local elections over local issues, like local tax levies, fund the library, fund trash, waste, water, or school board issues. These are all municipal issues, or for your municipal leaders. Because you're paying taxes, you're living in the community, you are a part of it. You are probably there legally, believe it or not. Okay, either on a green card or on a on a visa, and they're trying to get diversity into their elections and make sure that there is no taxation without representation. And if you are going to become an American, it's good practice to start voting and picking your leaders and being involved in the process. So what the Republicans do, they came up with this idea that we require that only a citizen of the United States who is at least 18 years of age and who has been a legal resident, registered voter for at least 30 days can vote at the state or local elections, and prohibit local governments from allowing a person to vote in local elections if they're not qualified to state. This affects practically nobody because only Yellow Springs is going to do it. Number two, then it does have a effect because in here it will stop the current practice of allowing people who are not 18 at the time of the primary. Currently, if you're going to be 18 by the election date or on the election date, if your birthday, for instance, this year is November 8th, you get to vote on the primary because you want to choose who you get to vote for in the fall. Makes sense, right? After issue 2 passes, that will no longer be possible. So you cannot choose what's going to be on the ballot if you're going to be 18 on the day of the election. You can get registered if you turn 18 before November 8th. You can get registered, but you cannot vote until then. And it's so nice to see girls18.xyz posting multiple comments here. Sorry, ladies, we're not interested. All right, so issue 1, issue 2. Don't do it. Lastly, and this is going to piss some people off. Sorry, Dr. Steve Johnson. I really, really hate the fact that you can take something that I love and respect, Sinclair Community College, and make it unfair to so many. And I'm going to explain this to you. For over 50 years, the residents of Montgomery County have been paying taxes, additional taxes to fund Sinclair. And they have done it willingly and happily, saying, build us a world-class community college that will provide skilled trades, associate's degrees, a step to Wright State that's affordable and cheap. You can go to Sinclair for 2 years and transfer to Wright State and not lose money and save tens of thousands of dollars. Sinclair is an amazing institution. And residents of Montgomery County get there really cheap. It's the only university or college in the state that is totally debt-free. They're rolling in cash. He hires all kinds of executive VPs and people in the community and lobbyists to work for him and everything else, which we could probably cut quite a bit of fat. But what the dividing line for me was when they started building remote campuses, like one in Warren County. Warren County. Yes, Sinclair has a campus in Warren County. And they say, oh, no, none of your taxes went into doing that campus in Warren County. And those students pay twice as much to get the same education. They double the cost. Okay, twice nothing is still nothing. You know, basic math. So we are subsidizing students in Warren County. They had a campus in Preble County. They sort of shut that one down. They had a campus in Greene County. They sort of shut it down. But you know what they did do? Like, they built a campus so close to Warren County and close to Greene County down there in the old Far Hills Baptist Church building right down there on Clio. Yes, that school isn't serving Montgomery County residents. It's for Warren and Greene County residents. And just charging double the tuition is not even remotely close to what the full costs of what we are providing. I set up a website a long time ago called Keep Sinclair Fair. And what I asked is, I have no problems extending the services of Sinclair into Greene County and into Clark County and into, and sorry, Dr. Blondin, even Clark County, and into Warren County and Miami County and Preble County. I have no problems doing that as long as those counties pay the same property taxes we've been paying and spread it around. And I have no problems making the education at Sinclair and Clark State and Edison State, all of them subsidized by the taxpayers the way they should be, and make them as affordable as possible. And do we need 4 different presidents, 4 different boards of trustees? Do we need all this other stuff? No. We can consolidate a lot of this stuff. I put Joe Alice Blondin in charge. Sorry, Steve. You've blown it with me. Your credibility sucks. You've been sort of playing this game for a long time. So, not only do we have one tax levy that they're asking for renewal, in a couple of years they'll be asking you to renew the other one. They split it up into 2, which costs even more money to run these things and makes it, not seem like as big a bite. We are paying too much for a community college that's helping other counties, and it needs to stop. So I'm voting no. And you don't have to agree with me, and you can vote yes and continue to pay one of the highest property tax rates in the state to support a community college that is helping other counties where they don't pay the same taxes. So there you have it. And I know, Bill, I know Sinclair is near and dear to your heart because you taught in the automotive department there for a long time, and we're doing great things, giving us our future generation of car mechanics. But I'm sorry, it's got to be fair. So I see my friend Tam Stefanik from Florida is dialed in. She says she's proud of me and what you've done for your community and everything, but thank you. And there's that girls thing again.
They're all different accounts.
Oh, different accounts, but
I'm reporting them all though.
okay. And so Lynn says, I asked and they said Warren County students pay more, supposedly. Yes, they do. Okay, but again, doubling tuition when it's so cheap doesn't cover near the costs of the overhead and the stuff that we paid for. Okay, I mean, we are paying for their LMS. That's their learning management system. We're paying for their instructors, their course design, the marketing. All these things we're paying for isn't being recovered from what the students pay. If you look at how much, and I should have run these numbers, but how much Sinclair makes from tuition is negligible compared to how much they take in property tax collections. And if we spread it all out and around, you would see that, yes, you are heavily subsidizing an organization that has very little oversight and control on their spending. Fight me on it. Let's go for a debate, Steve. I'll dig up the numbers and I'll prepare and we'll talk about it. But I think voters would be very sad to find out the truth about how much Sinclair spends for all that overhead that isn't being charged back to those students from other counties who aren't contributing a dime. That is everything I had to speak about today, and I will have to run down to channel 2 here shortly, and I hope you watch. Again, pancake breakfast this Saturday from 9:30 a.m. until 1:30 p.m. $5 minimum donation gets you in the door. All the pancakes you can eat. Real maple syrup, and these are scratch buttermilk pancakes, my own special recipe. I am the pancake master. There will be coffee. There will be orange juice. There will be no pork. If you want pork, that's Mike Turner's specialty. Sorry, folks. And there will be pure maple syrup because Mrs. Butterworth is a joke. So is Aunt Jemima. Well, it's not even called Aunt Jemima anymore, is it?
That's what it's called now.
I don't know what it's called, but I do real maple syrup. All right. We're going to do, as we go out, we're going to run the new spot one more time because it goes live in 5 minutes. You'll not only have seen it once, you'll see it twice. First for everybody. Here it goes. Monopoly was designed as a teaching tool in 1903. Did you think it was just a game? It was a way to model how economies fail when a few folks own everything. What if I told you the game ended decades ago in America when we stopped enforcing antitrust laws, allowed banks to get too big to fail, and let the rich buy our politicians? There's only one peaceful solution left. Vote straight D this November 8th and stop the billionaires from owning what's left. There you have it. We had more people watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Mike says he'll try to be there, but late. That's okay. We usually don't run out of pancakes, but there's a first for everything. Also, if you come and show up, you will be entered in a drawing to win a Shepard Fairey signed poster. Shepard Fairey is the guy who did the Obama Hope and Change posters, those red and blue ones. You know the guy. These are signed by the artist. They will become collectibles. And we, because I know Shepard Fairey, are going to have one to give away to a random person who comes and donates and eats pancakes at my house. And again, it's 113 Bonner Street, Dayton, Ohio, 45410. You can find the details and put it on your calendar from Esrati Events. Tam's here saying how good my pancakes are. Others will tell you my pancakes are the bomb. I've even had Republicans say, why aren't you having a pancake breakfast? I want your pancakes. And the great thing about pancake breakfasts is you can give me money and nobody has to know, the donations all just go in a pot and that's that. We do well at pancake breakfasts. And it's fun to see people in my house talking to them. This is the kind of thing I like to do. I don't like to have formal dinners, although we had one on my birthday that was really nice. But fundraising for the people, a chance for the people to experience my house, me, eat my pancakes. And remember, I'm the politician who's running for Congress who actually talks to people, unlike Mike Turner. So with that, I am going to Channel 2 to talk to everybody that's watching Channel 2 between 5:15 and 5:30 or so, okay? It'll only be 3 minutes, but be there, be square. We'll be back here tomorrow at 4 p.m. for our daily livecast town hall. Tell your friends, tell them to vote. Make sure they vote straight D because it's time to stop selling out our government to the billionaires. We want to take that monopoly game and we want to take the money back. It's not raising interest rates. That just helps the rich people. It isn't helping us. You and me are getting hurt by the Federal Reserve. And if you don't hurry up and get rid of people like Mike Turner, it's going to get really bad. Because the first thing I do when I get to Congress is I'm going to sit down with the people at the Fed and we're going to play Monopoly where they don't have any money and I have it all and see how well they do because they don't understand the economics of having over 619 billionaires up from 300 billionaires just in the last 20 years. That's thanks to Mike Turner and the Republicans, and we're going to shut them down November 8th. Thank you. See you tomorrow.